Hello, everybody of TikTok. This is Megatron the Comedian, and today I am going to be talking about the first spinjitzu master in the first episode of Multiversal Lore. So, to kind of start off with the first spinjitzu master and where he kind of began and stuff, he long before time had a name, there was a realm that preceded Ninjago called the Realm of the Oni and the Dragon. Now, the Oni and the Dragon were at war with one another, with the dragons having the elemental power of creation and the Oni having the elemental power of destruction. So one day, the first spinjitzu master was born, and he was the result of both a dragon and an Oni getting together, and, and thus came the first spinjitzu master. And so, basically, he had the power of both creation and destruction, considering the fact that he was half Oni, half dragon. So the two sides ended up fighting over him and trying to get him to pick a side in their war. So he eventually got tired of it and decided to leave the realm of the Oni and the Dragon, never to come back. And so then he ended up coming to the realm that would eventually become Ninjago. And before he created the two island halves that would become Ninjago, and I'll get to that in a minute. But he ended up having to fight this sea serpent known as Wojira, who had control of both the water and wind, from what I remember. So he united both the Merlopians and the Islanders to stop Wojira, and when she proved to be too much, Niad, the first elemental master of water, ended up merging with the sea and put Wojira into a deep sleep for a few thousand years. So then the first spinjitzu master ended up giving the Islanders one amulet, while he gave the Merlopians another amulet. And these amulets controlled these amulets gave Wojira the ability to control both the wind and water. And so, yeah, obviously, the first spinjitzu master gave these amulets to them so that way it wouldn't get into the wrong hands again, and the Wojira wouldn't be reawakened anyway. So then he would go on to create Ninjago using the four elemental golden weapons, which are the Fire Sword, the Scythe of Quakes, the Nunchucks of Lightning, and the Shurikens of Ice. And he gave the original elemental holders of that power those weapons, and they kind of something like they became its guardians or something. I have no idea. They became the guardians of those weapons. However, I think before he imbued his power to other elemental masters, he had to fight the Overlord and his stone army. And he was basically evenly matched with the Overlord, to where the point he had to split the island in two. And one half of the island would become Ninjago, while the other half would become the Dark Island that we end up seeing later in Season 2. And he would basically put the Overlord... He would basically see the Overlord over there, before, like, for a few thousand years, and which would eventually lead the Overlord to continuously plan for many years to come. The first spinjitzu master would go on to create his two sons, Lord Garmadon and Sensei Wu, and since they technically don't have a mother, they're 50% Oni and 50% dragon, just like the first spinjitzu master. So, yeah, I don't think the first spinjitzu ever had a wife. The first spinjitzu master ever had a wife. I think he just, like, obviously, and it makes sense because, like, he has the power to create anyway, so that's kind of, like, why he ended up just creating them the way he did. And so he would go on to teach them in the ways of spinjitzu. Hence why he's, known as the first spinjitzu master, because he was the one that created it. And he had to make a peace treaty with the original Serpentine government. So, like, one part of Ninjago, I guess, would be, like, Serpentine domain, while the other would be his domain and stuff. He would also go on to create the Realm Crystal, which he would, of course, use to teleport to other realms, which is, I'm pretty sure, how he was able to get to Ninjago before he created the island that would become Ninjago. And not much is really known about his life, that much, to be honest. Other than the fact that he would eventually, of course, grow old and stuff, and, he had the choice to basically be immortal. But, of course, the greatest have to humble themselves, and then he just decided to, leave the realm and, essentially pass on, which is, and then he ended up passing on to the realm that we see later in Season 10 of Ninjago, after Lloyd almost passes on himself, but that wasn't before he, of course, gave the original 4 Elemental Masters their powers to, which were the powers of fire, ice, lightning, and earth. And, of course, he would go on to seal himself away, which is why the current holders of his power, which are fire, ice, lightning, and earth, which is why they ended up having to go look for his tomb in Season 5, and had to get the Realm Crystal before Morrow had a chance to bring the Preeminent to the main Ninjago realm. So that is pretty much all I have to say about the first spinjitzu master. I will do a video on Wu and Garmadon in the future, soon enough. This request was brought in by Lloyd. Go follow him or her. I will tag them in the comments down below, but thank you for the request, and, if you have more to add to this video, just do it in the comment section below if you want, because, obviously there are people that know a little bit more of Ninjago than I do, but, that's pretty much what I've gathered for this episode today. If you have any more requests, again, just leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. This is Megatron the Comedian signing off.